Hey guys, this is Dinosaur Drawer and this is the second part on how to draw the Giganotosaurus. So now we have to draw in all the muscles and everything, and of course a bit of detail. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start on the head with the shadow and everything. So there's gonna be basically shadow at this area because it will be pretty much darkened, and also at this area. Kind of goes like this. Alright, and then underneath his eye would be kind of a eyelid. And maybe a couple of wrinkles and everything as well. And of course a couple of scales at certain areas. I want this to be darkened very dark as well. The jaw area, but just a tiny little area that will be darkened, and then just get a couple of lines kind of going at that direction. Something like that. Underneath his nostril would be also a little bit of shadow area, or you could say more of a highlight. Let's see if it's focusing all right. And we could draw just a couple of scales over here as well. Yeah, I just figured it's probably best to zoom in a little bit so you can kind of see a little bit better of what I'm doing right now. Just trying to get a more detailed look. And over here it would be very dark. A little bit of shadow over here, this area. Alright, and that should be fine for his upper jaw for now. Now we need to draw in the shadow for his lower jaw muscle over here, and also a little bit over here as well. Maybe even a little bit over here, and also a little bit more shadow at the area where the teeth connect to his jaw, and a couple of these lines there as well. . And it's a little bit too much shadow. Have to be careful now with this eraser. So this amount of shadow should be alright. And also over here, let it fade into the lighter area just a little bit, but not too much. And we could even draw a couple of scales over here as well. Something that looks a little bit like that. And of course the gum area. Alright, so now I'm gonna zoom out again. And that's kind of the result that you're trying to go for. Now we need to pay attention to what areas would be completely darkened. So I would say that the area underneath the dinosaur would be extremely dark. So that's the reason why I'm drawing these lines so dark. Over here we have a little bit more of highlight going on, so I'm not going to darken that in right away, not like what I'm doing over here. Alright, so this area is supposed to be completely dark. It's going to be very dark over there. And also over here. Going to be a lot of shadow going on. Like that. And of course over here as well. So it kind of starts over here and it goes down like this. And we do also have a highlight over here. And over here as well. But this one isn't very large. So it's gonna look something like this. Let it fade a little bit into the light area. And over here as well. And now we have to pay attention to these highlights that are over here. Because of the roundness of those muscles, there's quite a bit of highlight. Alright. And then for this muscle, kind of goes like this. Gonna be very dark at the bottom area, but it will be a lot lighter at this area over here. It's just very dark over here for the moment. And there's also gonna be a bit of shadow over here. Let's make this also a little bit darker for now. Because if the rest of the drawing is dark, then this area will have to be very dark as well. But make sure you do keep a little bit of highlights. Okay, and then this area a little bit darker. Alright, starting to look better and better. Then we need to pay attention to this area, because this muscle has also a little bit of shadow in it, but not too much, just a little bit. And then we have to draw a little bit of the shadow for this muscle over here, which you won't see too much. Well, that's a little bit too much, I must say. Just getting rid of a little bit of it. And also up there. Up there is supposed to be a highlight, so that should be enough already. So you would still be able to see a little bit of that line over there. Then this goes on into this area over here. Also quite a muscled area, I must say. And let's now get the muscle in for this area right here. So this is more like a flatter muscle, so it's not gonna have too much of a shadow on it itself, so that's something we do have to pay attention to a little bit. So I'm just drawing random muscles right now to kind of give it a better, just a slightly better look. Something like that. And later on I'm gonna put a little bit more detail in there. Just want to have a a little bit of a tone over here for the whole drawing in general, the whole dinosaur in general. And then this area, well, maybe we could even see a couple of ribs over here as well. So I might want to draw those in. But what's best is just to only put the shadow indication of those ribs in, which would be very low, like that, and they won't go up too high because there's too much light over there. Something like that should be fine. Now I'm just drawing a couple of curved lines right here to kind of tone it down a little bit, give it a little bit more of a darker tone. And now I'm just gonna draw in those muscles over here as well. Not sure what these muscles are, what I'm drawing right now, but they are more, normally they would be more straight. So basically what it looks like now is just a dinosaur without skin, basically, because I made some muscles stand out a little bit too much, which was not the right thing to do in this situation, but I guess that it's fine. I'm just basically drawing in a lot of muscles. Okay, and I'm not really happy with the way that this muscle turned out, because it's supposed to be a little bit more straight. So I'm right at the point where I'm thinking about erasing it and doing it again. This was way too dark up there. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna erase this muscle over here, and I'm gonna do it again. And it's supposed to be more straight like that. and less visible, and the ribs will only be visible at this area below here, not at the highlighted area. So I'm just giving it a little bit of tone here. And I'm also thinking about doing this area again as well, because it's just looks a little bit stupid. At this point it's just playing around and seeing what works best. So these muscles will be a little bit more stretched out like this, which this will look a little bit better in my opinion. But these muscles are there. That's just a fact. So I have to draw them in, even if it's only lightly. I do have to draw them in. Alright, so this looks a lot better already. And this muscle is also supposed to be a little bit more straight. And also, if you think that what you drew is a little bit too dark, you can always go back. In and make it look lighter, I guess. Just making some skin folds right here. Just a little bit of extra detail. This will just add up for the detail that we have put in it so far. Alright. Oh, we are already... I wasn't paying too much attention to the amount of time that I used to draw everything. So I do have to pay a little bit more attention to the time, because otherwise I won't be finished on time. So it's starting to look quite nice and quite detailed as well. So this area will be very dark, very much dark, well, yeah, very much darkened in. Because it's basically the underside of his tail. And we won't be able to see too much of the shadow on the upper side, because of the fact that this tail is just so narrow. Well, I'm going the wrong way with those curves, by the way. Those curves are supposed to be more like this. And just go smaller and smaller until you get to the end of his tail. Maybe just a little bit at some places, you would be able to see it a little bit. And over here as well, just a couple of more detailed lines everywhere. And basically connect this to the upper shadow area. Like that, and over here as well. Alright, so it's starting to look quite nice. We can always go in and, for example, darken in his hand so you can see it a little bit better. Maybe even get some skin folds and everything going on over here. Just a couple of them. and then up here they kind of disappear because it gets a little bit more into the highlighted area. So maybe a couple of folds over here as well, all the way up until there, and they, like I said, they kind of disappear over there. Alright, and let's make it still a little bit darker, just a tiny little bit. I would say this looks about right. So now for his leg, we draw in a line like this, and make sure you keep a little bit of highlight. So I'm just drawing a tiny bit of shadow over here, not a too high amount, and a tiny bit of shadow over here as well. Then I want to darken this line in basically, and get a little bit of shadow going on as well over here as well, and make it triangle in his knee like that, and maybe a lot of like muscles that kind of attach to that area, and make the line for his leg a little bit darker as well, so it's a little bit better to see, and then just kind of connect this with each other. Once you get into the highlight area, it basically the shadow basically disappears, and so does all the lines. All the lines also disappear kind of. Maybe a bit of shadow underneath this area, going up like that. And then we have a couple of lines that go like this. And this area would be very dark. This would still be the same muscle. And this would also be a muscle that would have a little bit more shadow than what it has right now. And then this area should be a little bit darker, just a tiny little bit, because of the shadow of the leg over here, that area. And then it should be darkened like this, and over here as well, also a lot of shadow over here. Right here is his ankle, and then we just connect this to the other areas of his leg. And this bottom area of his of his leg might be a little bit too dark. So if you're not doing a draw along, make sure to make that a little bit lighter. And draw a couple of scales up there, going up all the way till there, and then just darken it in between the toes. and at the bottom area as well. Do the same over here. Make sure those scales are there. And darken it in between the toes. Bit of shadow over there, over here as well for his ankle, and for this huge muscle over here. And then just connect this to each other with those lines again. Now this area, and you could give him a pupil, or you could just leave it like this. That's completely your own choice. I'm gonna leave it like this so it's less difficult to see the eye. Kind of gives it a more aggressive look. Alright, so at this point I would say that the drawing would be about done. So I need my autograph. And the name of the dinosaur. And the year. Alright, so yeah, if you liked the video, leave a like, comment below what you think about the video and the drawing in general, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss a single video. So this was Dinosaur Drawer, and goodbye.